This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 19th day of February in the year 2019. Here's what we're tracking tonight. The Ghana Elections Commission today met and voted to formally advise that it cannot hold elections within the 90 days period after the passage of the no-confidence motion against the government. The Constitution calls for elections to be held within 90 days after the passage of the motion, or at the time agreed to by two-thirds of the National Assembly. With the passage of the no-confidence vote on December 21, 2018, the 90-day period will expire on March 20, 2019. The Elections Commission also voted to advise that it is not in a position to financially host elections without an appropriation from the National Assembly. In addition, the Commission also voted today to continue with its work plan for 2019 as the other two issues are being addressed. That work plan for 2019 includes the start of the house-to-house registration process. The three government-nominated members of the Elections Commission voted in favor of the three motions. With regard to the first motion about the Commission advising that it cannot host elections within a 90-day period, one of the opposition-nominated commissioners abstained from the vote, while the other two voted against. In the other two motions, all three opposition-nominated commissioners voted against, and the chairman used his tie-breaking vote to side with the commissioners nominated by the government. Commissioner Vincent Alexander today said what GCOM has said is that it is not in a state of readiness to run an election in 90 days.
That GCOM has to provide on it, has to advise on its readiness. That's a factual matter. And what GCOM has said, one, it is not in a state of readiness to run an election in 90 days. It's a matter of fact. And two, based on advice we got from the Ministry of Finance, we do not have the resources and money to run an election at this time. It's another factual matter.
$3 billion was budgeted and approved in the last national budget for house-to-house registration to begin this year. The passage of the budget came before the no-confidence motion and vote. The Ghana Elections Commission last week saw the advice of the Finance Ministry about the possibility of transferring the allocated money for registration and instead use it for elections. The Finance Ministry pointed out that such a move would be unlawful without the approval of the National Assembly. The opposition People's Progressive Party Civic has been making known its opposition to the house-to-house registration process and has also been pressing for elections within 90 days of the passage of the no-confidence motion. 2 weeks ago, the Chief Elections Officer, Keith Lowenfield, advised that it was impossible for elections to be held within the 90 days period. He provided a scenario that placed the earliest possible date for early elections in the month of July, with that timeline shifting in the absence of the actual preparations for the elections getting underway. More news coming up in just a moment.
Here now, I want to switch over to GTT right now. Because all this time and money I waste on a calls alone can just send up my blood pressure.
You've come to the right place.
Really?
Once you're switched over with our network, you can activate our Fab 5 plan. With our Fab 5 plan, you can enjoy free unlimited calls with 4 family and friends.
You got to be kidding me.
You will also get 5 gigabytes of data with 250 text messages.
You got to be kidding me.
And your chosen 4 can also call you for free.
You got to be kidding me.
Activate the GTT Fab 5 plan today. For only $5,005, you get free unlimited calls to 4 of your closest family and friends, 5 gigs of data plus 250 text messages, and your Fab 5 friends can call you for free. GTT Fab 5.
As a luxury mechanic, I'm often asked, what gas should I use in my expensive vehicle? In other countries, you have regular and mid-grade gasoline known as 87, 89, and premium gasoline known as octane 93 to 95. For affordable, high-quality fuel, performance and high mileage, visit Guy Oil today. Choose Guy Oil Super 95. Guy Oil, we are everywhere.
This match day, February 23rd, Hits and Jams Entertainment brings you an event like no other. Sunrise Brunch Party. The first of its kind in Guyana. The day starts off with a delicious brunch served from 10 a.m. followed by the day party with the best lineup of DJs. Shizzle, Diamond, Sia, Ryan, and Energy at the Everest Cricket Ground. Sunrise Brunch Edition brought to you by Hits and Jams Entertainment. Stay tuned for more details.
Welcome back. Senior counsel Rex McKay and 3 other lawyers have filed an appeal of the Chief Justice's ruling in the no-confidence case that was taken to the court by Berbice resident Compton Reed. In the appeal, the attorneys on behalf of Mr. Reed are asking the Court of Appeal to set aside the whole decision by the Chief Justice in the matter, citing several instances in the judgment where they claim the Chief Justice misdirected herself and erred in law in relation to her rulings in the no-confidence matter. They have issued that having regarded that Charandas Prasad was not eligible to be a member of the National Assembly, the Chief Justice still did not throw out his unlawful vote. They also raised the issue with her ruling that the matter might have been best dealt with in an election petition, and her ruling that she did not have jurisdiction in some of the matters raised in the original case. Several other grounds for the appeal were cited. This is the second appeal to be filed in the matter. Last week, the Attorney General filed his appeals in the rulings that were granted against his case. The Court of Appeal is expected to begin hearing the matters this week. Let's tell you now that officials representing the Russian management team of Rusal met with Chief Labor Officer and other officials today over the company's termination of contracts for 61 workers who went on strike at the bauxite company last Friday. The meeting lasted for just over 2 hours, and at the end of the meeting, a representative of the Rusal company said the strike action by the workers and the response to it could be seen as unfortunate, but the company was losing days of work for no justifiable reason, he said.
Myself and company management, we feel unhappy, minimum unhappy with this unfortunate strike, or not strike, but it was a refusal of 60 workers to go to work, to perform their duties, and to abide by their own contractual contracts or contractual obligation.
The official explained that the company has been investing in Guyana and in the bauxite operations in the Berbice River at the time when bauxite is not doing well as it should be doing on the international stage. The company spokesman said today marked the 5th day since the workers have stayed away from their jobs, and the company simply cannot afford it. The strike action by the workers started as a result of the company's 1% salary increase. The workers protested the imposition and said they deserve much more. But the company officials said in the past 2 years, the workers have seen a 16% increase in their salaries, although the company's operations in Guyana are not profit-making.
I repeat, we are not happy, and I feel sorry. They were told, guys, management, despite our regulation and practices, is ready to forget that you refuse to go to work and you stayed or sat for 5-6 hours. Let's forget it. Let's work together, because world conjuncture in bauxite industry is not favorable at this moment. These workers from this group, frankly speaking, they were given opportunity to resume their work during the whole day of Friday, then didn't do so.
The Rusal official also said the company consulted with its personnel department and labor advisors before it handed out termination letters yesterday. Former Chief Labor Officer Mohammed Akil now serves as the labor advisor to the company. The terminated workers have refused to leave the company's mining operations in the Berbice River region. The company official said it is too early for the company to say whether the termination letters will be rescinded. The Labor Department is expected to meet with the dismissed workers soon before offering advice and a decision in the matter. Special forces from the Guyana Defense Force rescued the pilot and the police officer who were in a small medical evacuation plane that crashed last evening. The plane went down in the backlands of Canal Number 2 just around 7 o'clock last night after it reportedly ran out of fuel. At the time of the crash, the single-engine aircraft was heading to Ogle from the Region 7 area of Arao, with the body of a man who had collapsed and died while mountain climbing in that region. Air traffic control received a distress call from the Captain Lincoln Gomez moments after the crash, and he reported that himself and passenger were both alive but had suffered injuries. The GDF Special Forces quickly assembled and dispatched a rescue operation that involved one of its helicopters and a number of boats. The Special Forces team also had to walk part of the journey of getting to the crash site. It was just after 11 o'clock last night that they were able to safely evacuate the 2 injured persons, Captain Lincoln Gomez and policeman Michael Grimmond. The remains of the mountain climber who was being transported at the time of the crash were left at the scene and were expected to be brought out today. The Guyana Civil Aviation Authority has already launched an investigation into the accident. Aviation officials are expected to head to the crash site. The plane was about 13 nautical miles from Temeri, heading towards Ogle when the accident occurred. It belonged to a Seventh-day Adventist missionary group in Guyana that assists with medical evacuations from interior locations. In the courts now, 2 friends who were last seen with a Grove man who was later found dead have been charged with the man's murder. The 2 accused, Heman Gokul and Kiraj Prasad, appeared before Magistrate Faith McGusty today and were not required to enter a plea to the indictable murder charge. It is alleged that on the 13th of February 2019 at Samata Point Grove, the 2 murdered Rohan Prasad by stabbing him to death. Both men have been remanded to prison until the 12th of March when the matter will continue. The court was told that the dead man was accused of having a relationship with the wife of one of the accused, and it was that accusation that allegedly led to a confrontation and fight that ended with a stabbing death. Across the Region is up next.
Walk it up, no! Hey, hey! Tuck it up, hey, hey! Mash it up, hey, hey, hey! I come in here as a loner, I know you spot me from far. We had a good drink together, and mingle down by the bar. One thing lead to another, and we end up on the dance floor. With hands in the air, belt in waist, like we don't want go hole in the ball in my they want to walk up on you every sense. Come give me the wine, come together, walk together, jump together, drink a rum and have fun together, walk together, jump together. Even though we ain't come together, walk together, jump together. It's how we party.
Nobody on the post there. Going to do costly. Yes, it is. But I'm not saying just get a header. Oh, no, that's some save, isn't it?
Let's Bet Sports. Take your game to a whole new level. You decide. Your game, your bet type, your bet amount. Guyana Lottery Companies, Let's Bet Sports. Be part of the game.
Across the region right now, the military in the Dominican Republic, which shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti, has stepped up its presence along the Haitian border as protests continue to grip the French-speaking Caribbean community country. According to sources in the military, following the scarcity of fuel across Haiti, the military agencies of the Dominican Republic on Sunday stepped up their presence at gas stations on the Haitian border. The steps taken are aimed at preventing the transfer of fuel to the neighboring country and will be extended for as long as necessary. Since the beginning of fuel supply problems in Haiti, aggravated by socio-political unrest for more than 10 days, the Dominican Refinery Company has strengthened its controls of shipping of fuels on its territory. In the Bahamas, as a result of the political unrest and violence in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, the Bahamas government announced that it will temporarily cease all repatriations to the country. Hours after the announcement on Saturday, authorities apprehended a Haitian sloop with 64 migrants on board. The announcement also came 2 weeks after the apprehension of 18 survivors of a Haitian sloop that ran aground in waters off Abaco. 31 bodies were recovered and another 34 migrants were never found. Violent protests have raged on in Haiti since the 7th of February, with protesters calling for the resignation of the president. And finally tonight, international news. The New York City Commission on Human Rights has released guidelines against targeting people on the basis of their hairstyle, classing this as racist discrimination. The guidelines aim to protect the rights of New Yorkers in schools, workplaces, and public places, where black people are disproportionately affected by policies banning hairstyles such as afros, cornrows, and locks. A report from the Commission said black hairstyles are often deemed unprofessional, and by limiting how workers and students wear their hair, organizations perpetuated racist stereotypes. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.